Anyway, Bigfoot sightings aside, I had been meaning to talk about last year's World's End Fall Classic trail race and what happened during that race. It was my first time participating, and it's known to be kind of a difficult trail race. It's 13.1 miles on hiking trails, essentially, up and down some of these steep mountains that we have around here, the northeastern part of Pennsylvania. And it's marked with orange tape, and it's marked pretty well with this orange tape. But I didn't actually know the course myself because I hadn't really prepared very well. So I was relying on the orange tape. I also didn't expect to finish very high because I hadn't really trained very well that summer. So I went into it, I was just going to wing it, just going to try to enjoy the experience. And I started out kind of like the middle of the pack, just taking my time, going easy, picking through the rocks. And then at one point, probably about mid-race, I ended up at the top of one big incline, and I can't remember exactly which trail I was on. It starts raining, it's dark, it's about midday at that point. It's getting dark. All I can hear is the rain and the wind. I notice nobody else is around me. I'm totally by myself. All I can hear is just rain. I look, there's nobody ahead of me, there's nobody behind me. And I start to feel like I must be lost. Even though I'm following the orange ribbons and I can see them, I can clearly see them as I'm going along on the trail. I'm following these orange ribbons. I don't see anybody else. And my immediate instinct is to think, I must be lost. I must be on the wrong trail. Even though I can see with my own eyes that I'm following the correct markers. I think it's funny how we start to think we're lost when we don't see other people around us. And we think, well, I don't see anybody else doing what I'm doing, so I must be wrong. And that was my instinct, to think that I was wrong, even though I can see that I'm right. And what I didn't realize in that moment was that this was just part of the race where I was going to move away from the middle of the pack and get up to the front, where I eventually ended up finishing second overall, which I did not expect at all going into the race, but I made a second place finish. So I spent this portion, a couple miles, just by myself on these wooded trails with the rain pouring down and the wind starting to pick up, thinking, I feel like I'm wrong. I just feel wrong. And I think that's so indicative of how we go through our lives, feeling like we don't see other people with us and we think we must be going off the path. We don't trust ourselves, and we don't trust our own eyes to tell us that we are going on the right path. And sometimes I think that's where a lot of people get lost. They think that they aren't doing the right thing, and they don't trust themselves, and they end up going way off or not finishing where they really should be, because they are looking for other people to give them confidence or to give them validation. And I realized that this was something that I really struggle with. I really struggle to realize that I do know the way and I know what I need to do, and that God has put the markers out for me. If I just move forward, I'll see them, but I have to do the work of moving forward. If I don't do that, then I'm not going to see the next marker and the next one and the next one down the trail. There's so many places in our lives where we need the confidence to be able to walk alone in order to move from that middle pack up to the front pack where we belong. And I don't know how many people end up failing simply because they just don't stick with it. They just don't keep going a little bit further. So I think that experience to me taught me a lot, that I need to trust myself. I see the markers, I keep moving, I keep going, and eventually you'll catch up and you'll find where you belong. I just thought that was kind of an interesting way that running teaches us something about life and the plan that God has for us and the path that God has laid out for us. It's really unfortunate that we don't get to see the whole path in its entirety right in the beginning. But if we put one foot in front of the other, it becomes clear. And so I guess I'm trying to encourage everyone, keep putting that foot in the right direction. Keep trusting yourself. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just keep following the path. God will show you the way, but you have to do the work of taking those steps. Tomorrow's the big race. I'm going back to World's End Fall Classic, and we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a different course, so probably going to be a little bit tougher. Looking forward to it.